Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I want to be subdued today. I don't feel like, yesterday I was real pumped up. Maybe I am like a crazy ADD maniac. Yesterday, I was super pumped up and juiced through the whole thing. And just like 5 minutes ago before I started, all of a sudden I felt like, oh, I almost feel a wave of like nappy time. I feel like I can take a little nappy if I wanted to right now. But I will not sit back and take a nap when such serious business as what goes on here on Operation Status Quo needs to be put forth to you, the beautiful people of the world. I love you out there. How you doing on a Thursday? We're in our first week here back into the new year. How you guys doing? Are you back in the flow of your normal day-to-day life still? You know, it's funny when you come off the holidays, really, right? Because it's always such that big buildup leading up to Christmas and such. And, you know, especially some days before, maybe even the week before Christmas, everybody's kind of like shutting down of, you know, their normal. I mean, you're still working, I guess, if you have to or whatever, but, you know, your normal tasks and all. And you're kind of like, you know, just kind of letting it all go and to flow into the holidays. You get through your Christmas and you got that week in between Christmas and New Year. And that's kind of a dead week. And then blah, yeah, New Year's over. And then it's like, oh, no, it's January 2nd. Oh, God. Here we go again. Back to everything. Can we just turn the clock back a few weeks? But it takes a little time to kind of get back into the flow, right? So, but it's okay. Hopefully you're doing well out there and you enjoyed, your holiday season. I know I've said that we're into the fifth now, so the fourth rather. So hopefully, we're past that point and you're back into enjoying your day. I know this week is kind of, it's like a slow thing, right? You come to that stop in the end of the year and then, you it has to start over again. So it's a little bit of a gradual, up. We're going to get back into being normal, but it takes like a week, right? So if you're a little slow this week, don't worry about it. I'm generally slow throughout the entire year because I do not want to take anything in our mainstream world seriously so that it brings me down or makes me feel overly stressed at any particular time of the year. I try to keep everything at a steady pace, no matter what the season, what the year, what the holiday, what the heck, what the hell, what the F is going on, right? All right. Hey, I'm Pete Palma. Hello and welcome to Operation Status Quo. Of course, this is the place where we observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life, and then we create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go. So I hope you're creating your own flow of quo out there for yourself. Oh, a little something in my eye here, a little itch, pardon me. You get to see an official scratch of the eye. Wouldn't that be something if I scratched my eye and then it just popped out of my head? I mean, that would be really, maybe I would get a whole bunch of views for that, right? I'm still suffering from the amazing, it's like a magic trick. It's like YouTube is like Houdini. It's like the amazing disappearing views. You got views and then the views go away. And then some views come back and views go away. And then you see likes and likes go away. The amazing Houdini YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, what a beautiful trick. Hey-o. It really, actually, that ties into what I'm talking about today, basically psychological warfare, right? Because it is a way of trying to diffuse people or, turn people away or make them feel, not adequate or not up to par, or it's not worth continuing your effort. It's like, it's interesting because, it's all kind of played like that. But let me get into it. Today is the 4th of January in the good year 2024. We're going for more in 24. Ari, I guess we'll see what happens as the year plays out. And today's program is entitled Battlefield Brain, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I wanted to say something about the mind instead of the brain, but as I say, I always alliterate when it's possible. I really enjoy alliteration, so I decided to go with Battlefield Brain, even though the brain is really just the component, but the mind is kind of separate. But either way, you get the gist, right? Anyway, so I just kind of thought today it would be a good time to reflect on something that I talk about a lot, which is us remembering that, the world that we see, the physical 3D world, is the dream. We're in the earth school. We are souls that chose to be here and to learn lessons and have experiences so that we can, grow our essence and grow consciousness, grow humanity, whatever the ultimate purpose is for, the fulfillment of the oneness. But, and what we see that goes on in our world, really takes us off track, right? And, it's really interesting, how things, I guess it's always been, psychological warfare on the levels that it can be, in previous generations. But of course, with our technologies today, and the onslaught of mainstream media and Hollywood and all that kind of stuff, it really makes it difficult for people to stay grounded in a sense. So, one of the things I talk about the most is to, shut off the noise as much as possible. I'm a believer in paying attention to your surroundings and know what's going on in the world. If you're going to participate in the world, you have to know what's going on in the world. So it does help to have some kind of clue. But it also is important to remember that the narratives that we hear aren't necessarily, the true, the truth, basically, of what's happening in any given situation. And sometimes we don't even know if some of those situations even really occur or not, or what's a story, what's a not, all this type of stuff. And so just today, as a way to take some space, and because I say here on Operation Status Quo, it is about all of us choosing our own path in life. I think it's really important. The ultimate essence of our existence at all is being aware of our power to choose our path, right? And our ability to go within and talk to source, whatever you want to label it as, God, or whatever religion you may or may not follow or whatnot. It's just whatever the case may be in that regard. But knowing that, everything is within, and what we see on the outside world is just merely a reflection of the inside world, right? So the outside world is a reflection of what we're thinking, and more importantly than that, is what we're placing our attention on, right? So, if you come from a space that you feel whatever your story is in your life, I'm not even trying to get super heavy on all the different, circumstances of our current geopolitical structure and such, as far as the psychological warfare goes. But it does all play in. But it's about us, remembering who we are from the beginning, and that the outside world is a reflection, and what we put our attention on is what we're going to bring into our lives. So, even taking it to a simple point of, if you grew up, whatever your family history may be, and, maybe just to say, maybe somebody had an abusive parent or something that, not even necessarily physically abusive, but just always, you're no good at this, or you're too much, you're too this, and you're too that, or, you can't do this and you can't do that. And, you hear these things and they become the story of who you are as you grow up, and you always look at your past and, reflect on your past as to who you are in the present. And, it's just like, a constant story that we tell ourselves, that, we build in our mind this whole perception of what's possible, what's not possible, who we are, what we're capable of, and all these type of dynamics, right? So, where was I going with that? So, yeah, and so where we put our attention, and it's really as simple as that. That's how crazy all this is. Our world is so chaotic. And I've said this multiple times, the whole purpose of our world being this chaotic is because there's nothing out there to bring solace to any individual, right? We're no matter what, we are one humanity, one collective, ultimately one energy, but we're all, as I always say, these observation points, and we have our own realities. So it's not what's out there that's, converging on you to keep you in a space. It's what you have in here that goes out there that creates the space, and those spaces don't even exist. That's the crazy part about it, right? We're caught up in the world of what's going on, especially with all these, with the wars and different things like that, and of course, just you can't deny it in the United States. I know it's all over the world, but I live here in the United States. Wherever you are, hello and welcome. Let me know in the comments where you're from. But the political climate here is totally over the top, right? So and this puts people in a space of feeling, oh my gosh, I'm subject to, all these things. But, what we as individuals place our attention to, and where we put our thoughts on, really bring into our lives the view of what we're going to see of what's happening in the outside world. I mean, all kinds of things are happening, but they're not happening. They're only happening within a certain vibration or frequency, and every vibration and frequency has to be observed for it to exist, right? So you have to observe it and give power to it for it to exist within your life. Like, from just to say from my perspective, and I say this all the time, and people can think whatever they think. I don't take anything seriously at all. Like, I don't even mean that in an aloof type of way. I look at it in an empowerment type of way. Like, I realize that the world is a reflection, that the world is a playground, that the world is, really not carved in stone per se of like, these are the parameters with which in we must function. It's bigger than that. It's always expanding. And the more that we can take that space to, be comfortable with ourselves. I think that's really the most important thing, right? In all of this, because, the world's crazy, and I get it. People are, scared or confused or a lot of things, right? Just, depending on your generation, how old you are, all this stuff, you're going to have different perceptions of, because, your story is going to be different based on your upbringing, your circumstances, your environment, all that kind of thing. So, and we have to be able to see past that and know that, these are all just, certain points, because there's so many souls here learning different lessons, and there's so much, everything is energy. So, it's collective, and, group of collective focuses on this way of thinking, and, and it creates that parameter of society. And then you have another group of people that are focusing more on another way, and it creates that other parameter of society. But ultimately, all the parameters of society exist at once, and it's up to us to decide, how we want to resonate. That's why, I don't get upset about anything. It's it's crazy in a way, because even, for example, like I talk about this sometimes, excuse me, which I don't think would happen, but I guess it could. I mean, like, the world just ended or some kind of thing like that, or, you forget the perspective of the world ending. If something happened that I expired, all of a sudden, I never look at it as a loss. Like, I just look at it as that's part of the wholeness. You're not going to know everything, is what I'm saying. As the individual, as like me as Pete, I don't know anything. Like, we all have to, with this. Well, you should. I don't say you have to. You whatever resonates with you. I want to make that clear. But to let go of the ego, to let go of the attachment to the physicality, to the idea, the concept of this limited space of who you are, and I'm not good enough, and I'm not this, and I'm only this, or the more you're the creator, plain and simple. So, what you put your attention to is what comes forth in your life. And the universe or God or whatever you want to say, it's not some like, sitting up there going, okay, waiting for you to make the right decision. Otherwise, we're going to screw you over pretty good. It doesn't really work that way. I mean, it all is. So where you place your attention is what the universe is going to, put into your life. And when you, see it in that type of way, I mean, I'm not going to go into examples per se, but, I could go into examples. I mean, even like I've said this before too, even with me coming to Florida, I didn't, just start saying, okay, just on a whim, I'm moving to Florida. I woke up one morning and I felt something in here that said something about it's time to go, and it's time to go to Florida. And, I wouldn't have done that as Pete on my own, but I trusted in it because I felt it in my heart, and I made that decision, and I'm here. And, it's been, it's not perfect, but it's, I have no complaints, and like everything it's like, I didn't lose anything is what I mean. I changed my whole life. Right, I left everything that was comfortable to me in my neighborhood. I was relations with my neighbors, friends, my yoga community up there where I taught, and I knew a lot of people, and I knew people in all the stores that I went to. My family's there. I forget about my family. Should I mention my family? My family's there. Maybe I should mention them. Right. Love you guys. Hello. Love you guys out there. Love you. Ciao, baby. I had to go to Florida, but I love you. Anyway, but seriously, and we keep ourselves, in these in these, we're afraid to break our comfort zone, but our comfort zone is really only, the limitations we place on ourselves based on the story that we tell ourselves of who we think we are, and what's going on in the world today, just to kind of take it to the next level in a sense, is that, there's people out there, powers that be, whatever you want to say. I've said this multiple times. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Our true history has not been taught to us. Our true essence hasn't been taught to us. We've been taught nonsense, to keep us penned in this way. And, those that know this use it to their advantage to keep the population in a certain, space. So those people can maintain the control that they have and the structures that they have. But I know the chaos we're seeing in the world today is that humanity is rising, and they're no longer, they're questioning, they're no longer accepting. It wouldn't have happened without COVID. That's why COVID is really a beautiful blessing. I'm not angry at COVID at all. For me personally, it's no big deal because, I don't even believe sickness operates that way. And I definitely don't believe, obviously, that there was any kind of pandemic, but they were able to, use, it's like these negative forces almost wanted to try to use this item, to keep people, to further suppress people. And by using that and doing that, it actually, it's like, when you hold the beach ball, the big beach ball, and you hold it under the water in the pool or something, you can only hold it down so long, and then whoo, the ball, pops back up and shoots up out of the water. That's kind of like what happened, like with COVID, it was like another attempt. Like, it's almost like they know, like, powers that be know, ultimately you can't keep humanity down that way that long, right? Just because, the truth is the truth, and it's always going to come out, and the universe is the universe, the oneness is the oneness, and you can't destroy it, right? Even though within their realm, they can't destroy it, but they can keep you from being aware of it and keep you in a space where you're not connected to it. So, that's why the news comes on and does all the stuff that they do. It's just like I was talking to my mom last night, and she mentioned that she turned on world news. She goes, I turned on world news. I couldn't take it. That David Muir drives me crazy. And I said, I know, I talk about this all the time. I said, David Muir, I don't even believe that this guy exists. Who has ever seen David Muir? I'd say I have an episode I did a while back when I first started this Operation Status Quo, and it was called the Mystery of David Muir. So you can go back and look. But, I always talk about, who is this guy? Where is he come? And the thing is, just think about it from the perspective of psychological warfare and trying to keep people in a state of fear and, locked in. Like, the guy comes on the TV every night with his arms out like this. I don't know what it means. I'm sure it's some kind of behavioral, something or other that, subconscious, because nobody sits like this. I don't know if maybe he's part bird. I don't know. He might be like a bird man. I don't know what he is. But, he sits there like this and goes, world news tonight. He goes, another more tragedy has struck in Israel. Or let's just take Japan. An earthquake has struck Japan. Hundreds are dead. Tsunami warnings. Let's go to so-and-so. And then they come back, and he'll come back. He'll come back and be like, well, thank you for your reporting. We'll keep an eye on this. And it's always this like, like, who talks like that? What kind of like life? Think about life, the fruitfulness, the beauty, the expression, everything of life. Who wants to encourage? Who wants to speak to anybody in that way? You want to encourage people, right? Like, especially in that capacity where you're supposed to be presenting, information to the masses. If you had a person in your life, a friend or a family member, that went through a traumatic experience, just say, went through a divorce, and they're really upset. You're not going to come to them and go, oh, it's a tragic day for Pete as he goes through his divorce. His life is over. It's like, you did it all wrong. Why are you, it's just like, they'll come to somebody and be like, listen, it's okay. Like, things happen in life. You're learning from this. You move forward. Why can't David Muir come on and be like, let's get the Palestinians and the Israelis together, and we can learn from this and have a conversation and grow as a humanity and create a space where everyone can actually enjoy, instead of, keeping people trapped here and people trapped there. We got tunnels and people are blowing each other up. It's all craziness. And, and the way everything's presented, and aside from the news, of course, our Hollywood and, it's everything. It's it's all part of one conglomerate designed to not let the human experience flourish. I mean, it's really plain and simple that way, and it is psychological warfare, and they don't want you to know your power, and that's why they keep us in the space they do. It comes from the, how we're taught, the indoctrination in our school systems. It comes from the way they process our foods and the chemicals that they put in those. It comes from, how they treat our water and the oceans, what they're spraying in the air. It's all just little pieces. And, when you get like your mainstream stuff and who's following what celebrities that are, supposed to be, holier than thou. And I don't want to make it heavy that way. Like I really just want people to, today to try to just get the message across again. I just thought it was a time to reflect and to really remember, that we are the observation point. Like, you are it. Each and every one of us is it. And what is out in your life and what happens in your everyday is really, truly up to you. I mean, listen, we all have to live. I get it. Make a living. People got families to support. It's easy to say, right? I'm not in the same situation as someone else. So, it's easy for people to say, just say F it and go do whatever you want. Some people can't. I get it. People get entrenched in their lives too with other people that they're not really, I wouldn't say they shouldn't be with, because everything is a lesson and happens the way it should. But I mean, sometimes like, if you really were real with yourself and knew yourself, holistically in a sense, you would align yourself with the type of people that help you grow and not put yourself in situations of relationships, friendships, work situations that, bring you down or make you feel angry or make you feel fearful in any way or make you feel stressed or uncomfortable or any of that. Like, you would put yourself in situations that are, that you have support system and that people are growing together, or at least people that have the state of mind to know, like, are able to be forgiving and supportive when someone makes a mistake. We all make mistakes. No matter what, we're in this life. So, I think I was thinking of it too, like recently of how I personally evolved since, like, just say 2008, just was a kind of an important time, for me, and, and how my life has gone through that. And I really grew a lot through those years. And then there was some times within where I kind of went back and did some things that I, and I look back and I say, damn, I kind of overcame that, but I still kind of dipped back into a few of these behaviors. And then I overcame it again. And then I dipped back in a little bit and came back again. And, and it's always like, do a little bit less each time. You remember each time, like, and I always like pray on, hey, Lord, whatever my path is, please always let me remember, what I've learned and to be reflective and to have that gratitude and reverence for all, how you've been with me and helped me and gotten me to this point in my life. Please, let me know, if I ever start to, slip a little bit. And I'm always trying to check myself. Like, I don't want to be angry. I don't want to start arguments with anyone. You know how many things, it happens to all of us in our lives all the time, right? We can get into an argument about anything with anybody, if you feel something's not right and you want to speak your mind. And I'm not saying you should or shouldn't speak your mind. Every situation is what it is. And sometimes you have to, speak up. But overall, like, it's like, don't add, we want this crazy fire in this world to go out and have some peace in our lives. Don't add fuel to the fire, right? If you know that people are a certain way and you try to express a certain viewpoint and it's going to get them agitated, or if you feel someone slighted you and you want to say something snarky back, but if that person is doing that type of behavior and being, that way towards you, if you say something snarky to try to one up them, that's that whole narcissistic thing. They're going to be like, it's more fuel to the fire and they're going to want to outdo you. And then it becomes a tit for tat and a piss and match and all that type of stuff. And it's not worth it. So I see so many situations where, especially my work situation, like I'm very careful of how I send any email or answer any question. It's very just to the point, just answer the question, no extra thought or any type of insinuation of what my opinion of it is. Before I wouldn't do that. I'd be like, let me tell you something, but I don't do that anymore because I say, like, I'm not adding to it. Let me just put it back on them and let them come back to me. Oh, you asked this question, here's the answer. And if you want more information, come back to me again. So, I think all of us, like we should, I don't know, just again, be the observers, remember that everything starts with us from within, and what we put our attention to is what we experience in our lives. That's really the most important thing. I know it's hard to conceptualize for some people. I would think people who are into watching this channel would resonate with this concept of what I'm saying. But for other people, who are just out in the world, just of the world, of the world, or no, yeah, of the world, or no, in the world. We're not of the world. That's the thing. We're not of the world, right? We're in the world. So people who believe that they're of the world and this is all it, and they're really, this is it. It's hard. It's hard for them to even want to have that level of freedom and responsibility, because then it's like, no, well, now what do I do? Now what do I do? I like it when the government tells me what to do. Now I have to think for myself, and I'm responsible, and I can choose whatever I want and live my life however I want, and whatever I put my attention to is what is created. And I'm going to tell you this for sure. I'm going to give another example. I started playing guitar when I was like 12 years old, right? And I've played off and on through my life. Sometimes I'll play consistently for a while, and then there have been times where I've gone a couple of years or whatever, never even touched it. And, back in March, actually probably end of March, early April, just after I started doing Operation Status Quo, I got a little tune came into my head, and it made me think, I got to pick up my guitar. I got a song idea, and I picked up my guitar, and I started playing, and I, just like I felt called in here to go to Florida, I felt called in a sense to pick up my guitar, and I started doing that back in March, and I hadn't played for a while, so I was rusty, it's like, oh man, I got to kind of get my fingers going again, right? Get the calluses built up on the fingers again and such. And as I started playing again, all of a sudden I've written like a bunch new songs, and to a point where I have a project that I want to start working on of recording some of this stuff, and I plan on doing that this year. But the point I'm trying to make is like, you don't have to actively go out and try to get something. Like, it'll tell you, the universe will tell you what to do. Do I think I'm some great, musician or something? No, I can play the guitar, and I enjoy writing music. I'm creative, and it's fun. And I think some of the stuff is pretty good, and I'd like to share it. So I want to work on that as a project. So, even when I did Operation Status Quo, I was doing my show previously, the Pete Palmer program, and then Pete's Place, and I was doing it. I was trying to be. Something wasn't vibing right, and it was last December, not this past December, but the December prior, December 22, that I stopped, and I said, you know what, I'm done with this. Like, I don't think my messages are resonating with people, and it's just not working out. So I just kind of said, I'm just going to stop. So I stopped YouTube again, took my videos down, and then March 19th when I did that, this first episode was March 19th of Operation Status Quo, and I woke up that morning, I believe it was a Sunday, I woke up that morning, and I felt it right here again. I felt it right here in my heart again. It said, it's time to start doing the show again. I said, okay. I said, okay. And the universe wants me to do it. And I always say the universe, listen, I'm not trying to be some ego maniac. I don't care. I'm not trying to be a star. I really don't care. This is fun for me, and I like talking. And if the universe feels that I'm putting out, messages that make people feel happy, that, as long as it's coming through and, and telling me it's still okay, then I do it. If I get the vibe that it's telling me now you're off track and stop, then I guess I would stop. It's really kind of that simple, and that's how simple it is for all of us in our lives. And it's not about being rich and famous, and it's not about having the highest job in the world, or it's not about having material things. It's not about anything. It's not about anything except for really resonating with who you are inside and being yourself, and letting those gifts come forth, and learning the lessons that you essentially sent yourself here to learn. So the more you can go into that space and let it come through naturally, it'll just happen, as opposed to trying to force everything. And that's why with this psychological warfare and everything that's going on between our technology and our mainstream media, and the whole matrix and the mainstream paradigm, that's purposely done, to keep us from remembering that simple little truth. And if everyone was on that page, we don't need big governments. We don't need these corporations. We don't need, all this stuff, because we as a humanity would create, a simplistic world. It's really, it's simple. There's so much to enjoy here. The beauty of nature, the beaches, the whatever you like, the lakes, the mountains, snow, going up and skiing, just beautiful things, the animals. I don't know. Did I say I love the animals, whatever. There's just so much beauty in this world, just to watch a cloud go by, to watch the sunrise, to watch the sunset, so majestic, and you can get lost in it. And, that's the essence. That's like the real essence. And we're so like blinders, like we're just shut off from all that, and we're just entrenched in, our 9 to 5 and where we have to be, and all the things that the mainstream kind of tells us that makes us, a real person and living a real life, and, all that stuff that I say is total nonsense. So we have to exist. We do what we do. But, again, I think the world's changed anyway. It's going to take, a couple more generations for all this to flush out. It just is what it is. But we're in a beautiful space. I thank God for COVID, because it really gave, a wonderful catalyst for, it was such a level of suppression that, boom, humanity just exploded upwards. And now everybody's questioning everything. And, doesn't matter what side you're on, nobody believes anything. But that's a good thing, in a way. Because at least people are saying, well, I don't believe this, and I don't believe, like, they're not just taking everything as truth, I guess. I don't know, but it is a little too, don't fight with your fellow man. Forget about all the little issues. There are no issues. The only issue is us, just loving each other, supporting each other, encouraging each other, and really being mindful and and aware of what you take in, how you process it, what you're thinking, what you're putting out, because that is essentially what your life will be, So whatever you think and put out and attach to is what your life will be. It's as simple as that. So no matter what those kookadoos in power try to do to keep us suppressed. So anyway, I hope this message was helpful for you here today on Operation Status Quo, because I care about you people out there. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. And I would like to see everyone flourish and do well. And there's no reason for any of us to live in fear and be downtrodden and feel lack and feel worthless or anything. You're scared. We don't have to do it. We don't have to do it. So I just encourage everybody to believe in themselves and to, shut off the noise. You pay attention to what's going on, know your surroundings, and that's it. We don't have to get too deep other than that. And, the universe has a plan bigger than what we know. So just the more we tap into the higher levels, they'll show themselves here and in our existence. So anyway, that's what I got for you here today on Operation Status Quo, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, share, send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and of course, those you despise as well. I love each and every one of you out there individually as well as a group. And until tomorrow, Operation Status Quo, disengaged.
Boulevard of 10 short blocks.